Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, Barndominiums, or Barndos as they are affectionately called, are sweeping the nation. They offer massive square footage, soaring ceilings, incredible durability, and a completely blank canvas for interior design. But here's the truth that a lot of those perfectly curated social media posts won't tell you. Building a barndominium is not just like building a regular house. It requires a different mindset, a different construction process, and a very specific approach to financing and planning. If you are thinking about trading the suburbs for a plot of land and a steel frame dream, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we are going completely under the hood. This is your ultimate guide to building a barndominium. We are going to cover what they are, why you should want one, the realities of the financing process, and a step-by-step roadmap to getting your keys. Let's dive in. To understand how to build one, we first need to define what we are actually talking about. The word barndominium is a mashup of barn and condominium. Historically, it meant an agricultural building that had a small residential suite attached to it. But forget that definition. Today, the term has evolved. In modern construction, a barndominium typically refers to a custom-designed home that utilizes a steel frame or a post frame structure, entirely clad in sheet metal siding and a metal roof. Let's break down those two structural types, because this is the very first decision you will have to make. First, you have post frame construction. This is your traditional pole barn style. Large, heavy wooden posts are driven deep into the ground or secured to a concrete foundation to support the roof. It is incredibly sturdy, heavily reliant on wood, and often the more budget-friendly option. Second, you have rigid frame steel construction. This is commercial-grade architecture. Imagine the structural skeleton of a modern warehouse or an airplane hangar. Thick, heavy-duty steel I-beams are bolted to a concrete foundation. Why does this matter? Because both of these framing methods share one massive game-changing advantage over traditional stick-built homes: the clear span. So why are people abandoning traditional suburban homes in droves for these metal structures? It comes down to four massive pillars of value. Benefit number one: speed of construction. Time is money, especially when you are paying rent while waiting for your new home to be built. A traditional stick-built home takes months just to frame and get dried in, meaning the roof and exterior are sealed against the weather. Because barndominiums often come as pre-engineered kits, a skilled crew can erect the steel frame and wrap the exterior in metal in a matter of weeks, sometimes even days. Once the shell is up, the interior work can proceed safely, regardless of the weather outside. Benefit number two: unmatched durability and low maintenance. Traditional homes have siding that needs to be painted, asphalt shingles that need to be replaced every 20 years, and wood exteriors that attract termites and rot. A steel-clad barndominium is practically a fortress. The baked-on enamel finish of the metal siding can last 30 to 40 years before needing attention. The metal roof will likely outlive you. It is highly resistant to fire, impervious to termites, and capable of withstanding extreme winds and severe weather. Maintenance is often as simple as power washing the exterior once a year. Benefit number three: the ultimate open concept. We already touched on the clear span framing, but the psychological impact of this space cannot be overstated. Barndominiums naturally lend themselves to incredibly high, vaulted ceilings, often stretching 20 to 30 feet high. This allows for massive two-story windows that flood the home with natural light. It allows for spectacular second-floor lofts overlooking the main living area. It creates a sense of grandeur and breathability that you simply cannot find in a standard residential build. Benefit number four: flexible shop integration. A huge percentage of barndominium owners choose this lifestyle because they want an integrated shop, garage, or workspace. Because the structure is continuous, it is incredibly easy to dedicate 2,000 square feet to your living space and another 1,500 square feet to a massive oversized garage for your RV, a woodworking shop, or a home business. You walk through one interior door and your commute to work or your hobbies is over. Okay, we have painted a beautiful picture, but I promised you a no-nonsense guide. Building a barndominium is not entirely a fairy tale, and there are some serious hurdles you need to be prepared for. If you go into this blind, you will get frustrated. The first reality check: financing and appraisals. This is without a doubt the single biggest challenge in the barndominium world. Getting a mortgage for an existing traditional house is easy. Getting a construction loan for a unique, custom metal building is incredibly tough. The second reality check: zoning and restrictive covenants. You cannot just buy a lot in a nice suburban neighborhood and drop a massive metal building on it. Most homeowners associations, and even many city zoning boards, have strict architectural guidelines. They mandate specific roof pitches, specific exterior materials like brick or stucco, and they often explicitly ban metal siding. To build a barndominium, you almost always need to buy unrestricted land, which usually means moving further outside the city limits into rural or semi-rural areas. The third reality check: the acoustics of a metal box. Let's talk about the laws of physics. You are building a massive structure with tall ceilings, hard concrete floors, and wide open spaces. If you aren't careful with your interior design, your beautiful new home is going to sound like a gymnasium. Sound will bounce off the hard surfaces, creating echoes that make conversations difficult and movies impossible to watch. You have to actively design for sound absorption, using large area rugs, heavy drapery, acoustic ceiling baffles, and soft furnishings to tame the acoustics. So, you have secured the land, you have found a lender who believes in your vision, and you are ready to break ground. How does this actually work? Here is the sequence of events. Step 1. Site preparation and earthwork. Before anything goes vertical, you have to master the horizontal. You will need to clear the land, grade the site to ensure proper water drainage away from the home, and bring in utilities. If you're out in the country, this means drilling a water well, installing a septic system, and paying to have electrical lines run from the street to your build site. Do not underestimate these costs. Site prep can easily eat up tens of thousands of dollars before a single drop of concrete is poured. Step 2. The monolithic foundation. Most barndominiums utilize what is called a monolithic slab. Unlike traditional homes with deep basement foundations or crawl spaces, a monolithic slab is poured all at once. It is a massive, thick, reinforced concrete pad where the edges are thicker than the center, providing the structural footing for those heavy steel beams. Once this slab is poured and cured, you have the literal floor of your new home. Many builders choose to polish and stain this concrete right from the start, leaving it as the finished interior floor. Step 3. Erecting the shell. This is the most exciting part of the build. Over the course of a week or two, the steel framing columns go up, the roof trusses are set, and the metal siding and roofing panels are screwed into place. The windows and exterior doors are installed. Suddenly, you have a weatherproof, fully enclosed structure standing on your property. Step 4. The crucial element: insulation. I want you to listen very carefully to this part. You are building a home out of metal. Metal conducts heat and cold incredibly efficiently. If you use cheap traditional fiberglass batt insulation in a metal building, you are going to suffer. The warm, moist air from inside the house will hit the freezing cold metal exterior walls, creating condensation. Your walls will literally sweat on the inside, leading to mold and rust. To build a barndominium properly, you absolutely must use closed-cell spray foam insulation. The crew will spray this expanding foam directly on the interior of the metal siding. It seals every single gap, crack, and crevice. It completely stops thermal bridging, and it creates a highly rigid, airtight, waterproof barrier. It is expensive, but it is the single most important investment you will make in the entire build. Step 5. The interior build-out. Once the shell is insulated, the process looks exactly like building a traditional house. Plumbers run the pipes, electricians run the wires, and the HVAC crew installs your heating and cooling system. The drywall is hung, the cabinets are installed, the paint goes on the walls, and the fixtures are set.
Because the exterior was finished so quickly, all of this interior work happens in a perfectly dry, controlled environment.
You have successfully built a giant, indestructible metal fortress. Congratulations! Now comes the hardest part of all, making it feel warm, inviting, and human. The biggest risk of a barndominium is that it ends up feeling like an industrial warehouse or a commercial garage. To counteract the coldness of the steel and the vastness of the space, interior design in a barndo requires a very intentional strategy. Introduce organic materials. You must bring nature indoors to soften the aesthetic. If you have exposed steel beams, consider wrapping some of them in rough sawn cedar or reclaimed barnwood. Use heavy solid wood for your kitchen island countertop or your dining room table. Incorporate natural stone into your fireplace surround. The contrast between the sleek, cold metal of the structure and the warm, textured grain of natural wood is the hallmark of premium barndominium design. Mastering the lighting. When you have 20-foot ceilings, a standard flush mount ceiling light isn't going to do anything. You need to think in layers. First, utilize massive windows and glass garage doors to flood the space with natural sunlight during the day. For the evening, use large-scale statement lighting. Enormous dropping chandeliers or oversized industrial pendants help draw the eye downward and create a sense of scale. Combine these with warm, lower-level lighting like wall sconces, floor lamps, and under-cabinet lighting to create cozy, intimate zones within the massive open space. Define spaces without walls. Because you don't have interior load-bearing walls dictating the layout, your living room, dining room, and kitchen might all exist in one giant rectangle. To keep the space from feeling chaotic, you have to define the zones visually. You can do this by using massive area rugs to anchor the living room furniture. You can use varying ceiling heights, perhaps dropping a lower wood-paneled ceiling specifically over the kitchen area to make it feel more intimate. Heating and cooling a massive volume. A quick technical note on your interior environment. You are heating and cooling a massive volume of air. Traditional central AC units sometimes struggle to push air efficiently to every corner of a giant vaulted room. Many barndo owners highly recommend installing multi-zone mini-split systems or incorporating massive industrial-scale ceiling fans, like those made by Big Ass Fans, to constantly circulate the air and push the rising heat back down to the floor level during the winter.